I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Whoop. Hey, welcome. If you're here, you've got power. That's good. I know the south side of Muncie is without power at the moment, so I just received a notice on email for my grandparents that says their power should be up soon. At least the I guess that would at least be the Verizon. Verizon is who sent me the text. So good news, Xfinity networking service at your home was restored at approximately 7. Oh, what's that? No, I don't know what that is. Well, maybe that was the wrong thing. Okay, anyways, if you don't have power, you don't hear me saying this, so it doesn't really matter. So I guess I can just stop talking about it. Some of our regular viewers might not be here because they don't have power. Well, all right. For the rest of you, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us a little bit of your time. This is a very special Friday night episode. I didn't know what day it was for a moment. We were not here last night. We weren't here. I was going to go live. Catherine was supposed to be on, but Catherine has some family obligations that are currently going on in and around her life, which is really cool. Congratulations to one of her daughters for graduating with honors and all of that. That's really, really cool from Purdue. But then I was, to be honest with you, I was working on reading through the lawsuit last night. So I originally planned to have Catherine on tonight. But then I thought, when Catherine said, well, we could either do Friday or Sunday. So I thought we would go ahead tonight and stick with just me doing a review of yesterday's Muncie Redevelopment Commission meeting. And then Sunday, we'll have Catherine on. So for those of you waiting to hear of our review of the Madison County Council meeting that took place on Tuesday, that will be coming to Sunday, this coming Sunday. Sunday the 18th. For those of you that hate Catherine, you'll know when to not tune in. I'm just kidding. For those of you that are excited to hear about the city of Muncie Redevelopment Commission, and my fun day with those people, you should be okay, because we're going to be talking about the Redevelopment Commission and everything that occurred yesterday. Kind of, you know, for those of you that have watched for a while, you know that the Muncie City Redevelopment Commission, that's like the rudest governmental body locally, like in Muncie, in Delaware County. Out of all of the various meetings and groups, the Muncie Redevelopment Commission is Muncie and Delaware County's most out of control, rude groups. It's wild to me. It's really crazy. So it really highlights some of the things that I've been talking about in the last couple of episodes about feeling like just kind of beat down by the Ridenhour administration, and just like, it's like, yeah, you're going to do what you're going to do. This is very just like typical of this MRC group. And it's just, this is par for the course for the Ridenhour administration. And so it really goes in line with some things that I've been saying here lately. But then there are actually some different things that occurred, and the public need to be aware of this. I was actually happy that at Thursday's meeting, which occurred at 9 a.m., there were quite a bit of people there. Younger people, older people, people there for different reasons. I like seeing that. I mean, I know it's not very easy to attend. Not very easy to attend these meetings. Most people work during these times. So when I see people in attendance, it's always a good thing. I am going to give them one bit of credit for all of the crap I'm going to get ready to give them tonight in this episode. I have to say, number one, they weren't stingy with the time. They only have 2 minutes that they give us to be able to talk to them during public concerns. And I have been there in the past where they've been really like hard on keeping that rule. Like 2 minutes is 2 minutes. But for the last several months, I've known that they've allowed people to go over, and they've not said much. So I will give them credit for that. We're working our way there, Stumblefoot. And then the other bit of credit I will give them is they didn't attempt to stop me. I was not very nice. I mean, I was nice until the very end. But I figured as soon as I crossed that over that not nice, I figured that they would be like, you know, and try to do it. But they didn't. They still listened to it. So I'll give them credit for that too. So don't say I never gave them anything. Now I'm going to spend the next hour and 30 minutes tearing them down, you know, but I did want to give them that. So, hey, thank you for tuning in and giving us a little bit of your time. If you would, smash that like button. Smash it hard, hard, hard. Hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost you a thing. All you got to do is hit the subscription button. Click that bell so you get notified. For those of you that have clicked the bell, you got notified that we went live. It's normally a night off. We're normally not off on Fridays and Saturdays. But we're here. For those of you that are not subscribed and have not clicked that bell and you're here just by dumb luck, you might want to click that bell. Okay. Also, share the show with everyone you know. And that's that. That's very true, Jeremy. That is very true. There is where you can find us. You can find us on social media, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, both Facebook accounts, X. You can find the studio line there, my personal email, the show email. That's where you'll want to go to get all that information. And that's that. So, okay. And I do want to say before we get started, I've got two quick things here. Number one, Jackie, I know you tried to call me a couple times yesterday. I am so sorry that I did not get back with you. Every time you called me, I was like either on the phone dealing with something. I had to call the doctor's office for my grandparents when you called one time. And then the other time, I was right in the middle of typing something that I had to get done. So I am so sorry. And I know that you wanted to talk to me about the Redevelopment Commission. Maybe I'll try to get in touch with you. I know it doesn't help because I'm doing the show first, but I am so sorry. So I will get back with you. And then the other thing that I wanted to say is it got brought to my attention today that there was a person in Muncie that had a baby squirrel. That sounds nice, right? Baby squirrel. But this baby squirrel was in distress. This baby squirrel had one or maybe two broken legs, back legs. And they were on Facebook and they were saying, hey, wait a minute. Before I do something stupid here, is there anyone that can take care of this baby squirrel? I will I will bring it to you, or you can come here and get it. And I thought we did so well with the baby birds that I could go get this squirrel and assure this people that we would take good care of it, walk immediately back to the car as they're waving, put the baby squirrel under my back tire, get in the car, back out, and then leave. But I decided against that. So it is what it is. I don't even know. I guess I don't know what that means, David. So we once agreed, but because I bring up the way that someone that you claimed that you didn't really know, and that your words to me is you don't know what the hell you're talking about politically. You're just now starting to get involved because you had some lame ass excuse that you worked for 50 years. The whole time I held a job working. Right now I work for myself doing my own thing. When I worked for other people, I also managed to make money, work for myself, and still be politically active because I'm able to do more than one thing at a time. But for some reason, I guess it's just because you're drinking the water down there in Newcastle, you're not able to do more than one thing at a time. So you were not able to be politically minded for the last 50 years of your life. And so you're just now getting involved. which means you don't truly, absolutely know what you're talking about, but you get butthurt because I bring up the ways that your sheriff screws you and screws your family, and you get upset by it. So I'm fine with that, but I don't know what it means. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. I don't like when you're making fun of my sheriff. Look in the mirror. Okay, so whatever. Stick around and learn something. Troll around. Do what you want to do. I don't care. Go away. I don't understand. But like the level that you can comprehend is not much. So stick around. But like they always try to tell children that normally don't have the same ability to comprehend what the adults are talking about to sit in the corner, shut up, and listen to what's being said before speaking. So I would advise you to do the same. But you don't have to. You're able to talk on. You're an ambulance crasher. I don't know what that means. You mean right. I know you're over 60. That's why I said you spent the last 50 years of your life being able to only do one thing in your mind, and you were not able to do two things at the same time. So that's the reason, as per your words, you're just now learning. So I don't know what the deal is, but all right. Enough of that. Troll on, David. Have fun, all the trolling. We've got a couple people here that say things that nobody can understand. You can be right in line with one of them as well. I'm an ambulance. You mean I'm an ambulance chaser or an ambulance crasher? I'm not an attorney, but I guess I could understand why you might make that assumption. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Anyways. On to the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. So I told everybody that I was going to go to this. So you said crasher up there. Now that's a chasser. I'm an ambulance chasser. Chasher. Okay. I'm going to put that on my next business card. I'm a chasher. All right. I'm sorry. I had to do that. I wasn't going to do that anymore, but then you said I was a chasher, so I needed to say it again. Okay. So I was going to go to the Redevelopment Commission meeting yesterday, and I decided at the very last moment not to, because I got a phone call and I was talking to someone about the lawsuit. And so I was like, ugh, and I got it pulled up on my phone and I paused it so that I would be able to not lose where I was and watch it in real time. And I got off the phone. I missed about the first 5 minutes of the meeting. And then when I started watching the meeting, I then started where I was. I went back and was listening. And then my phone died, but not before I heard the president do something that I thought was very rude. So I was like, oh, no, I gotta go. And so I put my stuff on, my phone was dead, and I ran down there. And I got down there. I got there in time, and I was happy that the audience, there weren't many people there, but there were more than normal. So I got down there, and Isaac is the president, and he just wasn't letting it go, man. So there are 5 people on the MRC board. There's technically 6. People don't know this. There's technically 6. So there are 5 members that are the voting members. And they sit up on the dais up there. And then the sixth member sits in the audience, and he's just there basically to take information back to Ball State. He's from Ball State University. And then there's also the MRC president that is there, and he's the one that reads the notes for the mayor. And the thing is, I wanted to go to this meeting because if you remember at the last meeting, at the very end of the last meeting, the Muncie Redevelopment Commission meeting got a little testy, a little heated, because Andrew Dale wanted to make a statement. Andrew Dale is a MRC board member. Okay, so he wasn't like a person of the audience, wasn't a citizen, it wasn't Kristopher Bilbrey, he wasn't some chasher out there. He's a board member. Okay, and he wanted to address the audience. He wanted to make a statement on the record, and he was speaking during the commissioner's time to speak. I mean, he's a commissioner. He could speak basically at any point on the board. And he had a one-page letter that wasn't even a full page. You know, he spaced it and stuff. So it was, if you would have put all the writing together, it would have taken up maybe 3/4 of the page. And in reading it, it would have taken, to read from first word to last word, it would have taken maybe 5 minutes or less. So to just read it from start to finish had taken no time. And while he was reading it, for whatever reason, the Redevelopment Commission president, Isaac Miller, decided to butt in and try to stop him at the very end. Like, he only had 2 more sentences to go. I've seen that. We've read it here on the channel. And he made this big ordeal. He's beating the gavel. He's like coming out of his seat. The gavel's flailing up and down, enough to where Andrew Dale looks up and says, "Dude, you've got a problem," at the end of this. And I want to say, normally the Redevelopment Commission meetings are an hour or 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes. They're normally longer meetings because there's a lot that they need to talk about from month to month to month. But last month's meeting on April 17th, 2025, only was 35 minutes long. So if they would have allowed Andrew to talk for 10 minutes, they still would have been out of there in nearly 40 minutes earlier than they normally are. So it really served no purpose, like absolutely no purpose at all, for Isaac Miller to do what he did. And I planned on going to Thursday's meeting just yesterday because I wanted to address how I thought that came off. And as I sat there, I was like, I don't want to bring up, if Andrew's not said anything about it and Andrew's letting it go, maybe I'm not going to say anything. And I thought, it just depends if I say something, if I don't say something. And then somebody ended up speaking on that topic. And that is why I said, well, all right, since it got brought up, I'm going to go ahead and say my 2 cents on this. And so that's what I planned on doing. But it was kind of maybe I'm going to talk, maybe I'm not going to talk. I really don't know. And now listen, I want to say this for the record. Andrew Dale is the Democrat Party chairman. I get along with Andrew. Andrew's always been polite to me. I've always been polite to Andrew. There are wildly different things that we do not agree on. Many things that we do not agree on. But as far as it relates to local politics, I don't have much of a difference with him on local politics, okay? Because we're not dealing with the national political issues. We're dealing with spending money, being fiscally conservative, not being fiscally conservative, dealing with our employees the proper way, the not proper way. There's just things like that. Transparency, being accountable, and letting the public have as much open government as possible. Those are things that I agree with, and those are things that Andrew agrees with. Okay, so he and I agree a lot on this stuff because of that. So, before we get started, I do want to just to make sure everybody is clear on this. I'm going to take us back and let everyone see how the end of the meeting from April 17th, how that all went down. All right, here we go.
Public comments. We'll move on to commissioner comments. Two things for me. I've been invited to sit on a couple committees on behalf of the MRC. One is the 812 Housing Advocacy Group. I believe their goal is to meet quarterly. I think they meet this afternoon or this morning, and I'm not able to make that one, but I'm going to go to the next one, hopefully. And then the second one, there's a MAP committee led by Dave Ring and JP Hall, I believe, that they've asked me to sit on as well. So I'll be doing that. I don't know the meeting cadence yet, but I think they're mostly just looking for information and connection to the Redevelopment Commission. So happy to provide that to them.
MAP is Muncie Action
Plan. Yes. Sorry, I should have clarified that. So if I have anything to update,
yes, right,
Catherine. That's all I've got.
You got
Anything?
Nobody else? I do. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, especially in light of SB1, I want to go on record.
And understand, this was April 17th. So this meeting happened 3 days after Governor Braun signed Senate Bill / SEA, Senate Enrolled Act 1. So when bills are going to become laws, if it came from the House, it goes from the House to the Senate, back to the House. And if it's going to get signed, it becomes, instead of being House bill, it becomes House Enrolled Act. And then if it started out as a Senate bill, it goes from the Senate to the House, back to the Senate. And then if it's going to become a law, it becomes, instead of Senate bill, it becomes Senate Enrolled Act. So for those of you that read what I was posting the other day, I had somebody ask me why I did that, what that meant. So Senate Bill 1, once it's going to that part, when it's going to be signed, it's now called Senate Enrolled Act 1. Just FYI, it doesn't really mean anything. But so the Muncie Redevelopment Commission is really concerned with what's going on with the city's finances and how Senate Bill 1 is going to affect things. So this is not out of line with Andrew making a statement, even if the statement goes against what the Muncie mayor likes or doesn't like. They're not there to be the kiss ass of the Muncie mayor. They're there to present their ways and their thoughts. There are 3 Republicans on the board. There are 2 Democrats. It's weighted. So they all have their opinions, and one of the guys, Steve Probella, is sick. So he's not here. Normally there would be a 5th guy, but he's not here for this meeting. So in this exact meeting that we're seeing, we've got from left to right, Andrew Dale, the bald man, Andrew Dale, the president of the board, Isaac Miller, Zane Bishop and Shireen Wagley. And Andrew's a Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. She is the mayor's secretary. Okay. And so Andrew starts in like this.
Stating something. And I believe that if and when a government seeks to purchase or participate in the development of property, it's incumbent upon the government to do its level best to speak with one voice from its stakeholders, the taxpayer and the citizen. The only way to ethically and meaningfully act on behalf of its stakeholders is to have first gained the support from the majority of its stakeholders. This is not done through an election, for an election doesn't speak to specific development or a purchase of a real estate or the attainment of specific outcomes on behalf of its stakeholders relative to a development, but rather through planning and community through the clarifying and powerful and demonstrable catalyst known as the strategic plan. Small businesses and large corporations strategically plan. Small nonprofits and larger nonprofits strategically plan. Ball State does it. IU Health does it. Girl Scouts do it consistently when approaching their annual sales of cookies, as well as any successful venture that one might summon to mind. If government monies are limited, and we well know that they are presently, and they're only going to become more constrictive, contrary to how this body and our mayor spends money, then we must take the time to effectively plan for the most favorable results with our state, which our stakeholders deserve.
Mr.
For the
Dale,
best
Mr.
possible results.
Mr.
I'm
Dale,
just about done.
I'm
done in 1 minute.
I'm calling
done.
point of order.
Please.
Do your comments have anything to do with our business today?
Yeah, they do. It has everything to do with our business today. So I'm
Okay.
just going to
Well,
finish with
the
this too. I'm going to
criticism-
finish with this.
Criticism.
The bottom line
I've
is
called
that we
point of
can't
order
do
again.
things
Mr.
for our
Dale, I have
stakeholders
called
in the
point of
absence of
order.
engagement. Rather,
Okay,
we should
this
do
meeting is
things which
adjourned.
our stakeholders deem
This meeting is
appropriate.
adjourned.
Again, I mean, every time I watch it, I get more enraged. I mean, he beats that desk like it owes him money. It's ridiculous. He's out of control. I imagine that made him feel like a powerful man. I'm sure he thought he was going to go up and get, many kisses on the forehead from Papa Ridenhour. Maybe he did. I don't know. But I honestly felt, and I sent Ridenhour, and I know several other people did, sent Ridenhour communications saying the show that Isaac Miller put on today was completely obscene. He needs to be pulled off this board, and that's all that needs to be said. No, they're all the same people. They're all appointed. No one has any more power than the next. The only difference is he's the president, so he's the chair of the meeting, but they're all the same. There's no difference in them. And that's just wildly crazy. So when he can't shut Andrew down, as he should not have been able to, listen, I can tell you many times when the president before Isaac, which was Jeff Howell, the guy that speaks for Ridenhour now, he would go on tangents all the time during this period. And his tangents would last for 5, 6, 10, 15 minutes sometimes, because he was doing what he wanted to do and say what he wanted to say. And I will say, Isaac Miller, I've watched Isaac Miller go on rants before. So this was simply that they don't like Andrew. They're not of the same party, and they don't agree with him saying the things that he was saying. So this is how he then wraps that up.
And worthwhile and beneficial to our community.
We're
You've got a
done.
problem, dude.
I don't have
You've got a problem. You do not allow fair governance to happen. You're a
I'm
constrictive.
very.
And Shireen's laughing. I mean, the whole, honestly, and again, I bring it back to the fact that Ridenhour removed the comment section from the city of Muncie was he was afraid that the that businesses and people would see people of Muncie questioning Ridenhour, and he didn't think that was a good look. I don't know how Ridenhour thinks this is a good look. It's certainly, this is not a good look. This looked nuts. And yeah, the president did adjourn it. Technically there, he went, he did the thing that they do when they don't necessarily have to call. And technically by standards, they don't have to vote. That is technically true. So he did adjourn properly. One method that would make it properly. But again, it's just all of this insanity. So this is why
You're very constrictive.
I've let you make comments all the time.
it's just very, very, very wild, very wild. And of course, the mics were shut off, and we can't hear what they're saying here. I mean, it's extremely, extremely childish to act this way, and it looks bad for the mayor that he does this. So, Catherine, Isaac started out working in the Delaware County Clerk's office. He was seen as an up-and-comer in political circles. He actually was appointed to the Muncie City Council for roughly 5 or 6 months. He was on there 5 or 6 months, maybe more, maybe 8 months. And then he wanted to file for re-election, and he filed on wrong paperwork. He didn't fill out his paperwork correctly, and they removed him from running for re-election. And when that happened, it was like his light went out of him. He didn't want to run. Since he couldn't run when he thought it could be handed to him, he was just like done. But he then got a job where he does something on the national level for like vote systems or something. I'm not exactly sure what he does. I will look into that, but I don't know exactly what he does, but it has something to do with that. So I don't know. Very, very, very strange. Okay, so that then takes us into yesterday's meeting. And I will say, besides that, because that was my whole purpose for attending, I wanted to go. I wanted to watch what happened in the meeting, and at the appropriate time, the citizens' comments, I was going to decide if or not I would speak in the meeting. And I didn't really know if I was going to or not. The agenda for yesterday's meeting was posted by Andrew Dale on his social media accounts. There's a call to order, roll call, agenda, approval, claims, report from the city, other business, down, public comments, commissioners' comments, adjournment. I want to say that if you notice down here, and we looked through this, where it says commissioners' comments, limited to items before the MRC per this agenda. That doesn't really make any sense. And let me tell you why. It would make sense if the comments were being made and that section was up here, maybe, but they've already got through all of the business on the agenda. The other issue is that was never on the agenda. That line, limited to items before the MRC per this agenda, was never on the agenda until Andrew Dale was appointed back to the commission. They did that because they knew that if Andrew Dale had the ability to openly speak, that he would be critical of things that they were doing and maybe possibly critical of the mayor, which is fine. He should be able to do that. It's mind blowing that people, this is the thing that I see. And I'm like, okay, Gainbridge Field might look good, but our mayor and his cohorts hide. And that's a bigger issue to me than Gainbridge Field looking good. oh, you don't know what Gamebridge Field is, where that's at. Well, we can't use the old name. It is what it is. Okay, just very, very, very crazy. Yeah, absolutely, Space Cat. That's exactly correct. I will tell you, though, there were a lot of other people that had issue and took issue to what was happening here because of something that was happening on the... Where is it? There was another issue. You will hear it here in a second. All right, let's just go ahead and show the meeting because there was another issue that was coming before the board that other people were concerned about. And the reason they were concerned about it was they were taking action, and the people of the neighborhood that they were taking action in had no input. They had no say, and they weren't letting them speak before they actually took the action. And that is what is crazy. And I don't like that. And so we'll watch what happens here. Let's get into this here.
The minutes, and I've got just a few additions.
The May 15th, 2025 meeting of the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. I will go ahead and call this meeting to order, and we will take roll call. Mr. Bishop. Here. Mr. Dale.
Present.
Mr. Miller, I'm here. Mr. Pabilla.
Here.
Ms. Wagley.
Here.
And
Right, me too, Stumblefoot.
it's good, the audience. Good to see you. We'll move forward with the agenda. You all should have a copy of that. I did have a request for an amendment to the agenda to add a short presentation from our friends at Danner, correct?
No.
To D.R. Horton. I'm sorry. It's a D name. Yeah, right. Same thing. D.R. Horton. I apologize. So we will go ahead. I will motion that we approve the agenda with them after the Muncie Facade Grant Committee update, if that's okay with everyone.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll take roll. Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mr. Miller? Yes. Mr. Pabilla?
Yes.
Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, we'll move forward with the approval of the previous meeting memoranda. You all should have a copy of that as well.
Yeah, I've read through the minutes, and I've got just a few additions that were not included. I would suggest that under Jeff Howe's report, under the first point, he actually led with discussion about a hotel update and looking at where that's at, and that was not noted in the minutes. Another item under the, let's see here, the third item down under Jeff's report where he's talking about the proposal for certain tax deed properties. That was led by some information he shared about affordable housing initiatives for seniors in 20 to 25 lease to own homes, tax credit projects. And that then informed what was written in the minutes. So I think that's fairly consequential to the minutes. And then the third item I have of the four is that Jeff also announced that the Facade Grant Committee would have its first meeting on April 24th, that the chair would be decided and that the meeting would become a regular monthly meeting. And then lastly, my remarks at the end of the meeting, it states that regarding my feelings on Senate Bill 1, that wasn't what my statement was about. My statement was about the lack of engagement, community engagement, and stakeholder involvement in strategic planning. It had really little to do with SB 1. I just mentioned that in light of. So I would appreciate the minutes being approved with those additions.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Bishop.
So again, like I've said so many times, and I mean, by so many times, I mean every month, every meeting we've ever reviewed, while Andrew Dale has been on the board, there are issues with the minutes. First of all, they don't even call them minutes anymore because they're not technically minutes of the meeting. They are what's called memoranda, which is basically just a running of basically it's the agenda, essentially. It's the agenda. It's like a title of what they talk about, a very loose interpretation of what is discussed. It's not word for word by anybody say. And then if they have any votes, it records the votes, which by law, that is one thing that they can do. My whole argument is, okay, if you look at the Muncie City Council meeting, if you look at the Muncie Board of Works meetings, if you look at the Muncie Parks Board meetings or the Muncie Land Bank, All of these other groups do full minutes. And I've always kind of jokingly said that if you stand at the podium and while you're talking, you burp or you pass gas, you fart, whatever, that's going to be in the minutes of the Muncie City Council minutes, because they basically put everything in there from gavel to gavel. And that's the way it should be. But they changed all of this right in the middle. Why would you change it? What's the purpose of changing it? Because they can control the narrative of what happened at these meetings, because they didn't like that Andrew Dale was going back and making these big opinions in the newspaper about what Ridenour was doing wrong with economic development in the city of Muncie. And it's because Andrew Dale was right front and center on an economic development wing of the city of Muncie. They absolutely hate that. Okay. So keep in mind, for people that might not know, in 2019, Andrew Dale ran against Ridenour for mayor. He was one of the, he was a person that was running. He lost in the primary to Terry Whit Bailey, but he was trying to run, and for a very long time he was seen as the next challenger to Dan. But then when Jeff Robinson was on the council and he was doing well on the council, Andrew Dale and Jeff teamed up, and we understand that they lost, yada yada yada. But Ridenour likes to keep Andrew at bay, and that's the whole reason they changed this. They're like, well, we're not going to do a whole accounting of what happens in the meetings because we don't want Andrew's words to be. I mean, they basically limit anything Andrew says from these, and they changed his whole speech at the end. And Andrew's like, I want to do this. So they've made a motion. Zane seconded it. All 5 members are here. It shouldn't be hard to say, yeah, we want to be open and transparent. Let's vote to fix this and go on with it. Let's hear what happens.
Yes. Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mr. Miller? No. Mr. Pavilla?
Abstain, I was absent.
And Ms. Wagley?
No.
Okay. I will motion.
Okay, so there was 2 votes for yes and 2 votes for no. So it was a tie because Pribella was not here, so he abstained. So Miller goes ahead and makes a motion to take the memoranda as they are, and let's hear what happens here.
And that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, there's a second on that. Any further discussion? Mr. Bishop?
No.
Mr. Dale?
No.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pavilla?
Abstain.
Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Freeman, how would you like us to proceed
2
with
to
the minutes?
2.
Since we have 2 tie votes. Would you like us to save this for next month's approval?
Well, it's really up to you. You can motion to table it.
Okay.
And then bring it back up later, but I mean, you need a majority to.
Look at his face. So let's take just a moment here to talk for a second. I don't know much about Isaac. I don't know much about his home life, his background, who his parents are, where he came from. He ran around the clerk's office when he worked in the clerk's office like he was God's gift to county government. And the reason being is he and his male partner, Alan something, he's an attorney now. He's actually a city attorney. Oh God, what's his name? Alan, I can't think. He's on the BZA. I can't think of what the kid's name is, but he's an attorney, and they're about the same age. And he and this kid I can't think of, they both worked in the clerk's office. And by far, they were the youngest people in the office. I mean, like the people next up to his age were like, Alan Wisely is his name. That's exactly right. And they ran around the clerk's office like, they were the gurus because they did all like the computer stuff and they were on it just because they were younger kids, and I always got along with Isaac when he was in that area. And quickly thereafter, when I started questioning things about Dan, that's what happened to Isaac and I. Isaac is somebody that he is Team Dan all the way, and he can't take anyone saying anything bad. If you say something bad, to hell with you. So he doesn't like that. All right. Well, he just does not come off well. He is very smarmy. He always acts like this. I am better than you. I am higher than you. You are below me. You are beneath me. You're not someone that I need to give any kind of credence to. You're just not someone that is on my level, and therefore I don't owe you anything, and I don't owe you any ounce of respect. Like, here's the thing. I'm not just going to go out and give a person I'm meeting for the first time the same level of respect that I say give to Kate, or I give to Brandon, or I give to Niles, or I give to a lot of you that I know. All humans get like a baseline level of respect, and then that goes up and down. We've talked about that before. That's just common sense. He doesn't do that. You get no respect, and maybe you might earn it depending on what your status is, or if you're somebody or whatever. It's just he is the quintessential 20-something kid that has this attitude that I'm better than you. I don't have to work for things. It's just going to come my way. When something doesn't come his way, he throws a fit. And he's not lived the life of just any normal human being to know, part of it's his age, part of it's probably how he was brought up, or whatever the deal is. Something seriously went wrong with him at some point. I don't know. I'm not going to blame it on his parents. He might, I don't know. But he seriously doesn't understand that sometimes it's just easier to get along. He doesn't do that. You know what I mean? Yeah, really. I'll be honest. I think he's honestly worse than Sean, because Sean at least understood. Stumblefoot listen, and I mean Isaac no harm, never going to do anything. I don't want to be around him, but Isaac has the attitude of I've never been punched in the mouth before. And that's the problem. A lot of people have been hit and think, oh shit, that hurts. I don't want to do the things that get me that. Isaac acts like no one's ever going to punch him. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to do him harm. I'm never going to be violent towards him, but I'm just letting him know. I would say the way he's acting, the trajectory that he's going on, if he lives, quite a long life, he is going on a trajectory where I would say someone in his future probably won't like the way that he acts. That's just the vibe I get from him. Okay. Yeah. Stumblefoot. That's very true. Very true. All right. So let's, it's just this look. This look is perfect. It's amazing. All right.
Okay. I guess I'll motion to table these minutes as an action item for next month.
Second.
Okay.
See, he's so butthurt. He just wants to get these votes done, and he knows. And Kate's right. Kate said she was impressed that Pribella voted against them. Absolutely. And let me tell you what's going to happen here. Okay. Let me tell you this. He's mad that happened. He's probably a little put out by Pribella. Okay. You can see him shaking his head there. Now, I expect these minutes to never pass. I expect these minutes to never pass because they should always be a 2-2 vote. Pribella should never be able to vote on these because however long in the future we go, Pribella is never going to have magically went back and been at that meeting, so he should never be able to change his vote. And they can change it and agree with Andrew, and they can say, okay, we'll make them better, or they will just languish there because it should always be 2-2. And that is what I think Isaac is most pissed about, because I think Isaac realizes that.
Discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mr. Miller? Yes. Mr. Pravilla?
Yes.
Ms. Swagley?
Yes.
Okay.
So the
Moving
table
forward
minutes.
with the claims for Mr. Wright.
All right, let's listen to these claims.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I sent out the claims, really a short listing of claims compared to what it usually is yesterday morning, and I just had a few notes on it that I sent out with it. We'll remove the $100,000 from the Silver Birch over to the 905 General. We had a total of $450,000, which was paid at 322 and 128 to the street department for paving materials, and that was approved back on January 16th. And with that, I'll just open it up to any questions you might have. By the way, I did add a letter from WS Properties on the payment that we did for $246,130.
Can you explain a little more about the letter?
Well, the letter this was a contract that was done to where with the agreement that we had that with the covering operating expenses for deficits up to $246,130. That's for the canal district, and so that under that section they requested all of it, which we paid.
I'm just confirming you verified that in the original agreement with them.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd like to make clear that agreement was made under the previous administration, correct?
It was.
Okay. So it's been like 2018, 19,
19,
something like
yeah.
that.
August
Yeah,
7th of
that
2019.
project encountered COVID, it encountered supply chain. The expenses start when they dig the shovel, put the shovel in the ground, and the revenue starts when the revenue starts, and it couldn't start because of those kind of things, so.
Okay. I'll take a motion on the claims if possible.
So moved.
There's a motion on the claims. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mr. Miller? Yes. Mr. Pravilla?
Yes.
And Ms. Wagner?
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Craig. We'll move forward with the report from the city from Director Howe.
All right.
Thanks. As I've been asked, I've given you the financial statements, so you'll be able to see our current financial position, which I've been asked not to follow read to you since you can read. That I've also provided you the citywide updates by district that was done a few weeks ago. It's actually been posted, but I wanted to make sure you got a chance to see it. So that it itemizes about 3 pages or so of different activities that are happening in the different districts of the city, from paving to construction to a variety of different things. I think it's 30 or 40 things maybe that are on there that are being done across the city. So I wanted to share those with you as well.
Jeff, just a question.
Yes.
I know you're not going to go through the updates in the financial statement. Will those be posted online?
No, they never have been. They won't be put, no.
The financial statement, no. The city updates,
Oh,
they're
city updates are online.
they're
They're
already
online.
on the website and.
Yeah, the city updates are online. So let me find my notes for the other updates.
Why
So
aren't
we have
the
other
other,
updates. So we've been working on a number of different projects, and I want to emphasize that these things take a lot of time
Look at
and a lot
this.
of coordination to get the projects
Love
moving
this
and
thing.
continue moving forward.
oh, there we go.
So there are other things that we're working on. These are the bigger highlights. Point, as we refer to it all the time, we're continue to work on the economic development agreement for the Point. It's a multi-use facility that will bring 54 market rate apartments,
right now.
approximately 10,000 square feet of
What are we
retail,
doing?
and about 5,000 square feet of restaurant. It's a transformative project for that corner, of course, but it is dependent upon Ready 2, and we have no word on Ready 2, although we expect to have word on Ready 2 very soon. And I probably said that every month for the last year, but we'll hope to have word on that. But it is Ready 2 dependent. So we are continuing to work on that. And like I say, we've got some, Mr. Freeman has done the economic development agreement for me, but I'm going to hit him with some fine tuning on that based on some discussions with the developer. So we'll say that's still in process. Muncie Mall area development, deep in planning, extensive development of the Muncie Mall area project also hinges on Ready 2 support. It's not necessarily dependent upon Ready 2, but support will help move it along faster, initiate it faster. But we do expect to move forward on it one way or the other, but the pace will be dependent upon whether we have Ready 2 or not. We're looking at some other possible strategies to help get that done. When complete, the development will represent over $100 million of private investment and bring several national players, partners from across retail, dining, and other sectors to the community. Timeline still undetermined, but it is a significant impact and will have a lot of interest from the community. Supporting local business relocations, considerable time spent.
Always amazing to hear him read
local
this.
businesses in their search for new locations. We've identified promising sites and facilities and facilitated introductions to property owners. At this stage, our involvement is primary as a connector, and we will see if business and owners can come to terms. We remain available to see what we can do to help those things happen. But they are,
It's as if he's reading this from the first time and has no real clue what he's actually saying. Okay, we're gonna skip ahead. We're not gonna listen to the whole thing. It's an hour and 23 minutes. I would recommend you listening to this if you want. It is on YouTube, on the City of Muncie's YouTube. I want to get the main part about why people in the audience are upset. We're gonna listen to that, and then we'll get to the end part as well. Let's see.
on different timelines. One, enable us to be able to get tax combating maybe the effects of Senate Bill 1. So all the projects, again, are many, varied, but all kind of focused on how do we, provide housing, how do we help businesses relocate, and then how do we continue to do new developments where we can. So that's what I have on those updates.
Jeff, can I ask a question?
Yes.
On Ready,
Uh-huh.
I think everybody across the state of Indiana is asking about Ready, so this might not be even a good question for you, but I mean, have you been given any timeline from the state on what the holdup is or why it's?
So it's rumored that we may hear something next week.
Okay.
But please understand that, it's been a long time and
Yeah.
it's a change of administration, and I'm sure they're wanting to be good financial stewards. I don't know, but it hadn't happened yet, but it's rumored that we may hear something as early as next week, but I'm not sure. I haven't said that before. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
A couple questions.
Good.
Yep.
Is there any update on the former YMCA, where the developer's at with?
Still working on engineering. I think the demo of the building, because obviously you've got some rocking that happens when that building and the pool. So they're trying to figure out some of the engineering around that because they've got to go up 2 floors. So a little disappointed that we haven't made more progress on that, but
Go figure. Yeah, so are we.
But they're working on engineering.
Are they good communicators, the developer?
Yeah, reasonably well. Yeah.
What about the skate park? I got a call from someone like late yesterday.
Mhm.
They were just saying, hey, when is it going to be open? And I'm just curious if we know anything about that.
Shireen, do you know?
I do, a couple weeks. I mean, they've said it's almost done. Part of what's hindering the progress is that even while they're out there doing construction, there's people trying to use it and it's not open.
Yeah.
And so they've got kids on the park while they're working on it
Yeah.
with all the machinery. And so that is hindering some of the progress, but I think it's mid-June, early June.
And that's kind of the spirit of skateboarders.
Right.
They kinda
Yeah,
do-
they're using it, which
Right.
is a good thing,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's,
Yeah.
it's an active construction site, which makes it dangerous.
Yeah, let them say.
I was
Oh,
out there the other day. They've made some progress. Of course, we've had.
the camera should just
a little
never
bit of rain
pan
for the
that
last
way.
few weeks
That's,
as well. So
please do us a
but-
favor.
but, yeah, I'd heard that, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, maybe in a couple of weeks.
I'm trying to remember, what was our total investment in the skate park from MRC? Was that, we used to have the listing.
I
have
don't
it now.
recall.
I apologize.
Well, that
It was a big number. I
yeah,
remember that,
we
so.
expended those park dollars, so that kind of fell off of our
Yeah.
report. So I don't remember.
Curious.
Not us.
Yeah. No, we haven't hired anybody out there.
They're
I don't
not
know.
on our
I don't know
mailing
what it's been.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay.
It's a useful resource, I think. I don't know, Mr. Freeman, I should have asked you your opinion on this before, but I don't know if we even need to take action on approving this or not, to me, it doesn't really read like it ties us to anything necessarily. But to me, it more so reads and speaks like just a resource for us that's been provided by our director. As a quick reference, maybe if someone wasn't familiar with the area or someone knows some historical background. But if you prefer us to take action on it, or if you believe we need to do that legally, then we will. That's fine. But I appreciate the resource nonetheless.
I think it's been presented to you for review. Any action that you would take, I guess, would be up to the commission in terms of if you wanted to give it your seal of approval, or if you just intend to kind of take action items piecemeal. So to your point, there's no request before you for anything regarding funding or approval or otherwise. So presumably those will come before you in the future.
I would like the plan to be adopted so we have it and we can then identify that we have a plan and so we can use it.
Okay.
Who authored the plan?
It was authored by, the mayor had a contractor do it, a consultant do it for us.
Who was that?
I don't know the name of the firm. Is there a firm name?
I have no idea.
We don't know who
Somebody-
authored the plan. Okay.
It was done by a firm, I think that is owned by Dustin Clark, but I don't know
Really?
what the name of the firm is.
I don't have any idea.
Which is this type of project is within his scope,
Right.
right? At work. I mean, he's a contract employee. He does things like this all
Right,
the time.
yeah.
So
And he'll look for grants. I mean, he'll be the guy we'll ask to go find grants to do
Was
some
there
of
a
this
bid
work.
process, a quote process to gather professional firms to quote on this?
No, you don't have to.
We have them under contract to do work that we assign them. This was assigned to them.
I have a hard time. First of all, I've read through the plan, and I've read through a lot of plans in my years in economic development, and it's fairly ambiguous. It's hard for me to understand, and I think I kind of get things pretty well, let alone lots of grammatical errors. But I think it's hard to develop a plan that's not developed to some degree in community with the people that are impacted by the plan, the businesses and the property owners and the citizens who live in those areas. And so I would be very hesitant.
Okay, so this is the thing that most people are upset about. And you heard it right there, ladies and gentlemen. First, when they ask who put the plan forward, they didn't really want to say who. And then it sort of slipped out that it's Dustin Clark. Now, they are claiming this is the kind of work he does all the time, that he's been trained and he does this. I have yet to been able to figure out any actual training that Dustin Clark has been given or they've not provided anything. I've asked for it. And I have not been able to find out what makes him trained. I have a copy of this. We have a copy of this. We're going to look at this. This is it. Okay. This is the Muncie East Corridor Revitalization Plan, McKinley, Gilbert, East Central Neighborhoods. And this is what this is. Okay. First and foremost, this map is weird because we're looking at the city of Muncie. But McKinley, Gilbert, East Central neighborhoods are not highlighted on this map. Like, where did he get this map, and what's this map got to do with McKinley, Gilbert, East Central neighborhoods, first and foremost? Very strange. That was very strange that this is the first page. Very strange. That's the first thing I noticed. Okay. Then we come into this revitalization plan for the McKinley, Gilbert, East Central corridor in Muncie, Indiana. We'd have to go through this pretty quickly. Or we'd have to go through this not quickly, rather, line by line. I'll send this to you, Kate, and we can go through this to see where the errors are. But I've heard there are a lot of mistakes in this. mistakes about some of the areas that he's talking about, because Dustin is also not from Muncie.
Well, I already found one. It's an historical.
Where do you see that at?
First paragraph. He wrote a historical. No, not in English, not in American English. It's an historical. Oh, like 3 lines up from the bottom of the first paragraph.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Yep. Okay, right here. Transform a historical. Yeah, right. Economic, stable, and inclusive neighborhoods that supports both new and legacy residents. Okay.
And disinvested? Historically disinvested.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure where he came up with that word.
Yeah. So this is something I'm currently working. Yeah, Jackie. It's like, and listen, Charlize said she didn't know the name of his company. Bullshit. I know Charlize. Charlize works in the office with Dustin. Dustin is in her face daily. She knows the name of his company. She handles the claims. They pass through her hands. She knows the name. I mean, they were specifically being, unless he's maybe changed it. Maybe he's changed it since. I don't know. Let's continue going on through this real quick here. Let's see here. The proposed region is defined by the following street boundaries: south of Columbus Avenue, west of Walnut Street North, north of Washington Street, east of Vine Street. This area acts as a bridge connecting downtown Muncie to the northern Minnetrista development and the future growth of the city's eastern sector. And so, hello there, Brenda. So this is now more of a map that shows the boundaries of this area, which is the area right in front of Central High School. The mayor's neighborhood, his house is in it. Up through Minnetrista Cultural Center around there, down around Wheeling, and so there's I don't know why they do it like this, because it goes up more past this map. I don't know why they like cut it off. Like, this is again something that Dustin is doing and something that his girlfriend is doing. I don't know that a professional organization would have put this map out, because again, this map doesn't really tell a lot, or it leaves information out. Okay, here's this. They've just like taken random. I mean, this is really weird, man. I know that there are some issues within this part, and talking about this this house here. Kate. So this is, I need to reach out to the people in the neighborhood that are fighting this, that are against this, and find out some of what their issues are and the things that they've been really upset about. Multiple major revitalization plans address the surrounding areas, but not the critical 4-block area that needs a walkable corridor to connect major areas of the city. This is not even right here. This is not even. Oh, no. Yeah, it is. Never mind. Oh, look at this link they included in here for people to click on when they're reading it. That's nice. So this is some of the documentation here again. I'll send this to you, Kate. What are we looking at here? Okay. This is so weird. These pictures are so weird. And you know what's strange is nowhere on this document does it say who made it, who put it together. That's what's strange. Normally a documentation like this would have that on there, would have their watermarks on the paper, you know what I mean? Or like do not copy, do not, things like that. Or they would put it on there. This is wild, honestly. While I'm thinking about this, let me share this to you, Kate. Yeah, or even just a simple note stating prepared by. Yeah, right. Okay, here we go. Sorry. I love it when the sheriff can also be a troll. Sorry. I was looking at something else here. All right, back to this.
In adopting this as a guiding document for anything that this body would make decisions on. I think the neighborhoods, the people most affected, deserve to be at the table. And that's something I've been harping about for a long time. How long did it take for this individual or these individuals to create this plan? Like from stem to stern, from when they started to when they finished?
Don't know.
Don't know. We don't know anything about it.
Just pretty quick.
Here's how I would liken this. I would liken this to my mechanic going out and buying a wrench that he needs to do his work for. I need to have a plan adopted. So as we go out and look for opportunities, whether it's money for sidewalks, money.
Oh, this idiot keeps saying this.
And somebody says,
yeah, I would liken this to a broken wrench. My mechanic goes out and buys a broken wrench that looks more like a screwdriver. It's like, dude, what?
Do you have a plan? Yes, I have a plan. It is identified as it has real.
It's not a good plan.
Area that we can invest money in to revitalize the area. That's what it's for. I don't know that. Pardon me.
Nothing. Go ahead.
So that's what I liken it to. The work that's identified here is not inconsistent with what the charge of the Muncie Redevelopment Commission is. But if I do, and I probably won't, but if I have somebody on our behalf go out and seek a grant and they say we have a plan and we say no, we may not be eligible to get money. We may not be eligible to get sidewalks done or streets done or ADA stuff done, whatever that might include. But like I say, I liken it to having a tool that we can, or eliminating a barrier to have a tool to do stuff in this area. That's what.
But why would the people that live in the area, the business owners in the area, not be part of the process of creating this tool? They live there. They're going to be there. I would think that the idea would be keeping them there. You don't want them to move out. Okay, well, we've got this tool. Look, let me tell you. The tool is right there. The tool is standing at the podium. The tool is three of the members of the board. We've got tools, but you would think, good night, Alva. You would think that the people are going to, hey, tune in and listen to the rest of this because maybe you've already heard me call him an asshole. It gets fired up here in a moment. You would think that they would want the people in the neighborhood to be a part of this.
It is. We're not going to go out and start implementing things tomorrow because we have nothing that we're talking about doing there. What we have is, we have a place, it needs to have work. We need to be able to go out and figure out what we can do there, and we need to make sure that that's a barrier we do not have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like reading through it, I mean, the plan doesn't identify necessarily anything that we're going to do, right? I guess that's probably what I mean with my language of, it doesn't tie us to anything, right? There's no like, the MRC is gonna spend X amount of dollars on this specific project, right? Really the majority of the document actually talks about things that have already gone on or are going on. And information.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the plan is basically bullshit because the person who put the plan together doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. Maybe I should have said his ass from a hole in the plan.
Yeah, it's really just informational in my opinion.
And it's not even good information.
Clear, like, yeah, this isn't tying us to anything. We're not voting today. If we do vote to accept or reject this, in my opinion, we're not tied to anything. It's not an actual project. It's more so an outline of an area.
That's right, because they don't have money to do that. That's what we're trying to get the barriers down.
Let's think about it. What we're saying in this plan is that we have major car repairs to do, right? I mean, using your analogy, and we went to a mechanic and we quickly got some ideas, and now we're going to use that as the parameters with which we spring from in future decisions. Most of us, if we had a major car repair,
I figured,
get the answers we need, maybe from a couple or three people that are specific licensed to community planning, the type of stuff of urban development that's done. And then we would take action and get the car repaired and go about those things. The thing that causes me concern is a sentence in this. Having identified the key challenges facing the McKinley, Gilbert, East Central neighborhoods, a strategic housing-focused approach is essential for overcoming these hurdles and drive long-term revitalization. I don't know how you come to identify any challenge not talking to people that are most impacted and have their life savings and going businesses involved in these places. I don't understand how you would do that. Now, lastly, this is the last thing I'll say on this. I think doing it right doesn't necessarily take any longer than what it took. I just think doing it with the right sources is very important, and then doing it with the community.
So I'm going to take, in keeping with the car analogy, I'm going to take, you went further down the road than I think it's necessary, because what I think is, I want to be a mechanic, I need a wrench. That's what I know I need to do my job, is a wrench. There doesn't have to be a car in the driveway yet. I need a wrench, because that's what it's going to take to do what we need to do. That's where I put this in that analogy. This is about having tools in the toolbox so we can do what we need to do. We can wait till we need to do it. And then if we don't have the tools, guess when it gets done? When it gets done, if it gets done. So that's how I see this.
I would be curious to hear, Mr. Bishop, I think you live in one of the neighborhoods listed in this region, correct? And Shireen, you do too, maybe? No, you guys don't?
No.
We live in Minnetrista, which is
Okay,
mentioned, but it's not
nearby.
Yeah, as a part listed as a.
I thought you guys were in McKinley. I apologize.
Yeah.
Where so there's 3 specific neighborhoods mentioned in the plan, all of which have.
Now this guy, Zane Bishop is a thug. I like Zane. Look at him right now. This dude is intense. Here's what I like. Okay. I like that this dude is looking at their own people with the disdain. Looking at him like, I can see through you, asshole. Like, I get what you're doing. Like, I like this intensity. That's the difference between him and Isaac. And that's what I think's wild. Listen to this guy completely dismantle what they're saying.
Have active neighborhood associations. And I think at least 2 of them, 2 of the 3, maybe all 3, have neighborhood action plans, however good or not good they may be, or updated or not they may be.
They all have neighborhood associations. So, like, look, let me tell you, where I live, none of our neighbors know each other. I know the guy that lives on me here, and I know the guy that lives on the side of me. I know those two people. I don't know anybody else. There are 50, 60 homes in my little neighborhood area. I don't know anybody except the two people on either side of me. We don't have a neighborhood association. No, we don't have meetings. Nobody's helping anybody, talking about it, whatever. That's not happening. These people live in a place where they actually have these three neighborhoods have neighborhood associations, and they're getting together and they're trying to do it right. They actually have their own action plans that they could have just basically taken those three action plans, put them together, and put them in one master plan for this thing. But we have a government that thinks that they're better than the people even in these areas, and we don't need to consult you. Why? Because they're assholes and all, that's just kind of what happens. Assholes and all. That's all. That's it.
Were those neighborhoods and neighbors consulted with?
Nope.
No.
No.
I need a plan so I can say I have a plan of an area that needs revitalized. Look at the pictures in the plan. Any question about some of those properties need to be revitalized? Any question about the sidewalks? I live in town. I've been down that street. I've jogged down that street. I mean, all those streets in all those neighborhoods. So do I know we need sidewalks? Do I think anybody's going to take a big challenge about whether we need to redo the sidewalks?
Why is he so angry? It's crazy to me that we are upset at just saying, like, look, why don't we have communication? Look, something that we whip out that I haven't whipped out in a very long time. Ready? Excuse me while I whip it out. Let's see. Up here. All these people's boss ran on improving communication. That was the very first thing that he ran on. Improve communication, improve transparency, improve accountability, slow government down, improve relationship between the city and the county, and put the best people in place. Well, listen, improving communication in this situation, no, there is no communication. So we've not improved it. We've made it worse. Improving transparency. If there's no communication, there's no transparency. They're not giving, here in a minute, you'll hear they're not going to allow themselves to be held accountable, and they're not slowing government down. I'll skip this got nothing to do with city county, but putting the best people in place. Right there, this group that works for Ridenhour, with Ridenhour in his plan where all the shit rolls uphill, it's all Ridenhour's fault. They are messing with 5 of those 6 Ridenhour tenets of his first campaign.
I think there's going to be a big challenge that we want ADA cuts in the curbs. Do I think there's going to be challenges for those things? No, this is what we do for a living. And we were enacted to do this by city statute years ago. I just want the tool. I want the wrench to be able to do what I'm supposed to do. And I can't apply for some of these grants. I can't apply for funding in some cases because I don't have it. I don't think there's anything objectionable in here. I don't think there's any reason to say we could have a meeting and let's have a conversation. Who doesn't want to do the sidewalks in your neighborhood? Who doesn't want to do curb cuts in your neighborhood for ADA?
He's not asking the right questions here.
I mean, who doesn't want to do that? We're not forcing anything on anybody. If quite frankly, if we get money and somebody says we want to do the sidewalks and somebody comes out and says, hey, don't do my sidewalk, I like the roots coming up through it, we can probably take it off the list.
Why
apply for these things if I know they're going to ask me the question, is this an identified area for revitalization? Yes. No, the application is thrown to the side. That's all we're getting to. We're not going out and making changes. We're not changing the team mascot's name. We're not naming the city anything different. We're just trying to say we've identified the area so we can use it to apply for money, find opportunities to
money. You heard it right there, folks.
Or whatever it is specifically that we have been charged to do for years.
Yeah, I guess that's my question, or I guess maybe.
So he's basically asking for a very vague marker, this area, so that he can take that and plug it into sidewalks. He can plug it into roads. He can plug it into tearing down houses. He can plug it into whatever he wants to, rather than having something that has any kind of specificity.
Yeah, no solid plan. Yes, right.
So he basically is asking for a blank check.
Yeah, kind of. Because you heard him there. You heard him, because here in a minute, they're talking about, and what you hear Andrew Dale and Zane Bishop and what the people in the audience are saying there for is they're saying, wait a minute, where are we? Where's our involvement? Why are you not talking to us? And he's saying, this is not the point we talk to you. We're going to talk to you after this. But you just heard him say that they have a city ordinance that's already permitted them to do the work. They're never planning on talking to the people. Right now, or never brings anyone to the table. He tells you after it.
When you apply for a grant, you don't get to say, oh, we want $100,000 and we'll let you know later what it's for.
Yeah, right.
Grants, you have to be very, very specific.
Mm-hmm.
So having something that just points out this big circle on a map without getting into what specifically the neighbors would like to see done, what the redevelopment commission would like to see done in the area,
Mm-hmm.
just allows him to just go and apply blanket for grants for shit that people may not want, may not be needed, just so he can say, well, look, we got money.
That's exactly.
So it's not, no, just no. If you're going to do it, that's fine, but have some level of specificity in the document. That,
Right.
and it needs to be grammatically correct. You don't turn that in, because you would turn that in as part of the grant.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. And when you're turning it into these people, when you've got 200 different communities coming to you wanting money for something, I mean, specifically in grant things, like you get to the point where they're looking for shit. Well, this was all, looks golden. It looks like it was professionally done. Everything was spelled right. Everything was, grammatically correct. And this one looks like it was done by Kristopher Bilbrey. It's like, okay, well, maybe we're going to.
With a lot too many
right.
ellipses.
Periods. Yeah, right. Absolutely. It's like, listen, I know I shouldn't be doing grants. I also know Dustin Clark shouldn't be doing grants.
Yeah. I thank you for sending that to me. It'll be fun to read through.
Oh yeah, it'll be it'll be interesting. We'll have to go back through it at some point after we look through it.
I guess there are plans that do identify a lot of those issues. I'm not entirely sure what the plan is. I think it's for the 4 blocks of Weiser between Walnut and Madison, but I'm not sure that's
on the map.
Explicit.
Look at
in there.
Shireen's face.
It's the area that's included in the map.
So while Isaac Miller's, I think, looking through his coloring book, maybe he might be looking through all this. You know what I mean? Maybe he might be looking through all this and saying, wow, Dustin's done a wonderful job. He's not, engaged. He don't care what's happening here. Look at Shireen's face, though.
Map.
Okay. Yeah. I guess if the plan is indeed largely informational, I think a lot of the information needs clarified and copy edited and fixed. And I guess otherwise, I guess I'd be curious. I know the point of the plan is for applying for grants, but I guess a lot of the issues that are pointed out in the plan, I feel like the city is already responsible for.
Yes.
So I'm not entirely sure. It talks about street trees, and the picture shown is like.
You just hit the target. We're already responsible for this. I just need to be able to say, I have a plan. You're right. You're exactly right. You look at that thing and say, wait a minute, are we supposed to do that anyway? Yes, is the answer to your question. What I need to be able to do is say, I have this document so I can go do those things. But you're exactly right. You hit the target. We already do these things. This is what we do. This is what we're charged to do. Here's what we don't have, the money. And oftentimes we don't have the money to make these things happen. This is hopefully removing a barrier for us to be able to get the money. I can't guarantee you, I'm not going to be coming here next month and say, gosh, if we adopt that plan, now I have $10 million. but we can't, but this is what we're trying to target. But you're absolutely right. You hit the target. This is what we do. We're just trying to eliminate the barriers from being able to do what we do.
Okay, great. Let's just do it with bringing the people to the table and letting them be part of this so we can hear what they want to fix and how they want things done. And let's hear their ideas and let's allow them to have skin in the game because they have put their life savings in on a home and they're raising their families there. They run a business there that, this is where they are. And so they should be there. And then the second thing is, like he said, edit and make proper. Let's maybe do this in a way that it doesn't look like our special ed third grader that's Dan's boy did this. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what the relationship between Dan and Dustin is, but I know that Dan likes to play bring your kid to work day with Dustin, but maybe don't let him be the one that does this.
Because the biggest barrier for us is money.
Okay, if I could have another minute. So, I mean, I guess if the issue is money, I guess I would like the plan. I mean, in addition to correcting the information and clearing the information, I guess I would like the plan to identify the existing city departments that should be responsible for these items. I mean, if it is indeed like 4 city items, I mean, again, like as I was trying to say, the picture of the street trees, issue on lack of street trees on Columbus. I mean, that's a corridor that was already recently rebuilt by the sanitary district with new sidewalks. And then like code enforcement isn't addressing like parking over the tree lawn, which is then leading to making it difficult for trees to be planted on the tree lawn. And there have been city initiatives with street trees. And then it points out like, kind of like zoning issues in the old Kincannon building. And the city went through a whole process and spent money and a lot of time rezoning a lot of McKinley just to not like what was proposed for the old Kincannon building, which could have been fixed with, the rezoning and with updating the zoning code. So I think it just, needs to flesh out some of those, key elements of like, what do we do with the money and how do we make sure that stuff is maintained and, enacted correctly?
I think I
We're
see
talking about tactical things. This is not a tactical plan.
I think, and I'll come to you next, Steve. I apologize. I think I know where Zane's coming from because Zane and I both have planning backgrounds. Zane even more so than me, which is why I really appreciate his expertise. And so maybe the title of plan is the confusion. Again, to me, it's a resource. It's a tool. If this were a actual like strategic urban plan, I think it would map out all the things that Zane is saying, and even the things that Mr. Dale has hinted at and others as well. So maybe calling it a plan is the problem, and we can just rename it something.
What a pretentious tool, man. Oh God. It's like nails on a chalkboard to look at his face spitting out words with that stupid chin strap beard that he's got, man. Like, I'm just telling you, where is the 1960s CIA when you need them? They wanted to put something in Castro's food to make his beard fall out. Where can we not just have this guy? Dan, please, if you're going to keep this tool bag on the MRC, can you tell him to shave that off? He just looks like a pretentious turd. I mean, he really is. I know he is. But could we just maybe make him easier to look at, I guess, or put a bag over his head or something?
That's fine, as long as you have the tool to do the job.
That's
what I care about.
Renaming it doesn't defeat.
But does that
purpose?
But I was going to ask. So, like, if we renamed it from plan.
So now we're talking about it. We don't need the
cost
people involved. We just need to rename this. We're just not going to call it a plan. It's going to be called That's the question. That's the follow the money thing. We don't have the money. We're needing the money, but what are we needing the money for? What is going on that we need this rush? And I'm going to tell you, I wonder if we're not going to get as much ready money as we originally thought. You heard them bring up ready money and we're not getting it. We've not got it. We've not got it. We've not got it. We've not got it. And we're supposed to be hearing something next week. My wonder is are we not going to get as much money as we originally were told? What's going on? What's the rush? Why are we rushing this? Jackie says, on previous Muncie neighborhood improvement projects, the city MRC did reach out to the neighborhood associations. Store Estates, Halteman Village, dilapidated pool area converted to park, splash pad, Cooley Park. Why is the process no outreach to the citizens changing? Ding, 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 ding. That in line with what Kate just put up. What's the rush is the question. And that's where I'm going to be focusing over the next couple of days and weeks, next whatever, trying to find out what is happening in this area that Ridenauer and co are trying to push through, do whatever without people knowing, and trying to quickly get money. What's the rush? Why? And why are they changing a process? And I would say, because honestly, a lot of those things, you see what Brenda from Newcastle's saying? In Newcastle, Brenda's saying she thinks they're getting about 500,000 less in Ready. So if that's happening in Newcastle, my question is, how much less are we getting than what we were originally told that we would be getting? That's interesting. Very, very interesting, Brenda. And obviously we're not holding you to that. We understand that might be different here or there, but we'll be checking into that, because Kate and Jackie just hit the nail on the head at the same time with two very good questions and or statements, and they very much go together. And that's what I was thinking, that's a very good question.
Potentially with funding sources.
I'll go to Steve. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I was mainly going to say the same thing, that this is a plan only to the extent of these neighborhoods need revitalized. This is not an exact plan.
It's a plan only because we need a plan to do what we need to do here.
Applies for grants, it's going to be for a specific thing, and I assume there's going to be additional planning for that exact project. This is not the end of what will be a part of the grant, but just information that is needed up front.
This reaches this. Yes, sorry, Steve.
Yeah, it just states that there needs to be revitalization in these neighborhoods. It doesn't say specifically, this is not what's going exactly to for a grant.
This answers the one single question that gets us through the first filter. Is this area been identified for revitalization in a plan? Yes. Then whatever the purpose of the request is for, trees or streets, and those things will come from the relative departments. But then there'll be a whole, as you know, a laundry list of questions that will be, I can't even begin to tell you, but it'll be what kind of trees or or it'll be.
That's good to know. Brenda, I'll go back
paving and what's the street sidewalk width, and that'll be all the details. This is the first filter.
Yeah.
Has this area been identified for redevelopment or for revitalization in a plan? Yes.
I think the thought is also that.
What weird hand gesture are you doing there, Jeff?
Tool, and then you get the developers in because we have the tool.
What kind of weird hand gesture are you doing there?
Revitalize this region. Then from there, the MRC has actions to take on the work that they'll be doing. So I guess it's also true that this isn't just hey, here's this, go build something.
Yeah.
So it's probably good to reinforce that too.
And from this, just like with every other project that's happening, the skate park, store development, the McKinley Live Learn project concerning Columbus Avenue and Concannon's building and the Y, the neighborhoods and the stakeholders are included at that point when there is a project that has been identified or an idea that has been identified. This is a step before that.
It's the first tool in the toolbox.
We're always a step before, a step after. Always.
Taking the information from all the different projects, and yes, some neighborhoods are ahead. The McKinley Live Learn neighborhood's been meeting for a couple of years and has more progress going on than maybe the East Central neighborhood has in their area, especially after, the Muncie Inn is more recent than the McKinley Live Learn. And so, so this area is just simply, in this document, is being named as a target. And then from there, ideas, plans coming together with stakeholders and neighborhoods and departments and all of that. Those are the next steps after this.
Go ahead, Mr. Bishop and Mr. Dell.
This is to apply for grants.
Mm-hmm.
When is the first of those grants due?
There aren't any.
It just depends on
I
when
don't
they're
know. There
available.
aren't any yet. I'm just.
I don't know. There are no grants yet.
We can apply for grants. There aren't any yet.
Good question.
I don't want to stop discussion, but I would maybe suggest that we wait on this for
What?
some copy editing and.
I think we're overthinking this. I really do.
agree on that.
Let's think we're
We've
really
had more
overthinking
discussion
this.
on the informational piece than we have on most projects.
Right.
Are you done with your statement? More? You're all good. Mr. Dell.
Yeah. what's the methodology for this particular plan as opposed to saying, okay, let's also consider the industry Whiteley corridor? Was there some type of methodology used to say, no, we won't go to the Old West, or we're not going to do a plan right now for the Old West End or industry Whiteley, we're going to do this? Just curious.
Well, there's a plan, though. The McKinley, Whiteley, Live, Learn is together. Whiteley is included with the McKinley project, which they've been meeting for 3, 4, 5 years.
I've
Yeah,
never
and the
heard
community
anything
foundation
about
was what's
Whiteley
effort
being in
for art
there.
space
That's
to
the
create
very
arts
first time I've
corridor
ever heard that.
right there in that area.
So there's
And-
already a
and-
plan for that.
And that's my next question, because I thought we'd go there, is why wouldn't that be included then in this plan? That way that way you've got plenty of coverage for whatever you're looking to capture.
Well, because they've done their plan. Their
There's
plan
already
doesn't
a
include
separate
this.
plan for that.
Yes.
And a lot of
You're
specificity
absolutely right.
is going to put this in the realm that you didn't name this. You named 10 things and you didn't name this.
Just a question.
So
Just a question of methodology.
Yeah,
That's all,
I mean-
that's all I'm asking.
I make a motion to approve this plan, just for
Now
our
listen.
tools moving forward.
I second.
Now listen. Okay, she was done talking. She's done talking. And it's interesting to me. I almost wanted to know if Amber was the code from the mayor, who I'm sure was upstairs watching this, because Amber just walked in the door. And as soon as Amber walked in the door, Shireen made the motion with her Kim Kardashian vocal fry. Dude, these people are not humans, man. Like it's so bad. I shouldn't be talking about people and their issues and their afflictions, but I can't stand their face. It's like that. It's like that scene in The Big Lebowski where the sheriff has the dude sitting across him and he's drinking the coffee and he's like, I don't like you. I don't like your jack off face. I don't like your jack off name. And I don't like you, jack off, and throws the coffee cup at him. That's where I'm at with these people. Shireen, oh God, Isaac, ugh. Steve Pribella, he's basically a nobody. Like he's just another yes vote, but he doesn't annoy me nearly as bad. But oh my God. All right, here we go.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion?
Is there any discussion with folks that might be impacted by this plan? Are they allowed to speak or ask questions?
All right. And you're spot on right here with that. That is absolutely 1000% spot on. That is just an absolute perfect. You're exactly right. But here's what kills me, because Andrew isn't just somebody doing this. Andrew, I'm sure, is aware that there are people in the audience from these impacted areas that want to speak. So Andrew's like, let's back this up, because I was kind of talking over it. He said, listen to this. He's asking if there's, if before we take a vote on this, because we're getting ready to vote. So you've never wanted the people to be part of this conversation, but we are getting ready to vote. So can we listen to the people from this area first and listen how that shows up?
you didn't name this. You named 10 things and you didn't name this.
Just a question.
So
Just a question of methodology.
Yeah,
That's all,
I mean-
that's all I'm asking.
I make a motion to approve this plan, just for our tools moving forward.
I second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion?
Is there any discussion with folks that might be impacted by this plan? Are they allowed to speak or
Not
ask
at this
questions?
point. in the meeting.
They can speak.
Whoa, Shireen, calm yourself. You have no reason to be talking. Point of order. She's like, not at this point. Why? She don't get to make that determination. But chin strap down here also says not at this point. Let's look and hear what happens here.
Speak during public comment, yes. Is
But
there any
not before
They can speak during public comment at the end after we vote.
decisions made.
Correct.
They can speak during public comment, as is the decorum of our meeting every month when we meet.
But you could decide as president to allow them to speak if you chose to.
I could, but I'm choosing to keep the decorum of the meeting as we do every month.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion?
Why? And why? Why does Isaac have so much attitude about that? What's worry? What is he worried about? It blows my mind that he was even appointed to sit on the city council and he was there. Do you know that he honestly thought in the last year? No, I was wrong. He was a little over a year because I think he got appointed in December. And he honestly thought he should have been voted in to be president of the council. Could you imagine if that dude was president of the council? He was mad at Rose Selvey because Rose Selvey didn't vote on him. Matter of fact, the reason that Roe was screwed by the Republican Party in the last election, she still won, but the Republicans didn't support her because she didn't vote for Isaac as president. And that's insane. He's still wearing like training underwear. He has no business really being on the board. Definitely has no business being president. So no grant deadlines coming up. No grants. They are even looking at just one it now. Yep, right. Yep. Yeah, he definitely needs anger management.
Discussion by members of the commission.
And it makes me mad because he makes me need anger management. His anger and weirdness makes me anger and weird. You know, that's so weird.
Take roll. Mr. Bishop.
No.
Mr. Dale.
No.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Pravilla.
Yes.
Ms. Wagley.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we pushed it through. Good. I'm glad we pushed this through.
Okay. We'll move on to our TIF report from Mr. Bob Swintz.
Okay. I'm going to speed through this. You guys can go and listen. There are some important things that happen, but I'm going to get to the public comment because that's the next big thing. Okay, so
Mr. Pravilla, if you wouldn't mind.
we're going to get to the public comment. We're almost done. Give me just a few more moments, folks, and we'll wrap her up here. But you can go back through if you want to hear the rest of the meeting. That was the big part of this meeting. This was the main thing. And I want you to hear what these people have to say and then hear me and Isaac at the end. Here we go.
Keep time as our secretary.
Yes, Carrie,
James, go ahead.
absolutely.
I will do my best to stay within the two.
All right.
Yep.
I want to go back to
Hey, that's right.
for just a moment of the East Central, McKinley and Gilbert. I don't live
That's absolutely
anywhere near any of those neighborhoods, but I have had 4 people reach out to me and express their concerns about moving forward without any community input, neighborhood input. And I know we talked that to death this morning, but
I wish that they would have a camera on Isaac because it's going to be part of what I talk about here in a minute. Anytime someone from looking out here now from the left side of the room basically talked, he looked at them and he gave them respect. Any of the business people, the people that were there on the agenda or whatever. But as far as the people from the community, he just didn't look at them the entire time they spoke. He might have looked up a time or two, but he was making notes and writing and just, to me, that is such a bad, that irritates me and it's not good. I can much more respect the people that are looking and they seem engaged and they're nodding along or even shake his head. But if you're shaking your head when you're looking down, you're not disagreeing with me. You're like, oh boy, this idiot shouldn't even be allowed to speak up here. That's what that is. If you're listening to me and you're engaged and you're part of it and you're disagreeing with what I'm saying, that's one thing. But that's not what Isaac was doing here.
I mentioned that I would say something at this meeting to them or on behalf of them. I think what I was hearing today was indicative of a communication issue.
Communication issue.
The residents think it's this. We're saying it's only this. You're saying this is only this. And I do think a communique going out to the impacted neighborhoods would be beneficial to have the explanation that was given today given to the residents that would be impacted. Because there's a complete misunderstanding. I mean, what we heard Jeff say was, I'm just looking for tools. They're thinking something's about to happen and we weren't even asked about it.
Yep.
That's the gap.
Yep. Charlie, that's spot on.
Secondly,
Charlie's right.
Yeah, DR's here. Just an update either from the MRC or maybe DR. What's the status on the old Sportsplex property? Is DR still
Interesting.
planning to go ahead and begin building? If so, what's the timeline for that? I assume it's sold or it's closed, right?
I don't believe so.
No.
It's not closed.
No,
No.
it's an option.
Oh.
Or whatever you call it, the contract to buy.
Okay. All right. And one last
Go ahead
thing.
and finish your point. Yeah.
Yeah, optics matter. And I have to say, and I wasn't here for last month's meeting, but I was online. And I have to tell you, the optics were horrible at the close of that meeting. We pride ourselves in this country and in this city and state, I think, with free speech, First Amendment right. And I heard someone trying to express that last month and was repeatedly gabbled down. Not a good look. I believe personally there's an apology in order that's due. And I would hope that would never happen again because a commissioner having a comment on the commission's board is certainly appropriate to have. Thank you.
I completely agree.
Mr. Knatzer.
Now, what's interesting there, and what I like, what I find really interesting there is when Charlize was asking about the Sportsplex, the DR Horton guy was shaking his head. Yes, we are going to go out there and we're going to do it. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I like that he did that, and the store stuff seems to be coming along. So, okay, good on them. Time will tell. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, it's not closed.
Go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
It's Nancy Tucker. In reference to the revitalization plan, I like the concept. I just would have you take another look at the executive summary. Starting off with a plan to categorize the effect, does that create a problem for stigmatizing that area based on just those low-income housing revitalizations? So that's my comment, if that makes sense.
I truly, honestly didn't even understand what he said it so fast and so under his breath. I don't really even know what he was saying. Sound like he had a problem with what was happening. Okay, here's now an what? Hold on, I can't even hear you now.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I think what he was trying to say was that they're trying to take this whole area on the map and based on this specific area, say that this is all low income.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And that's
And
maybe
that
a
was
problem.
going to affect things for
Yeah.
the neighbors.
Yeah, because that's not true about that. Some of the areas are, but not all of them. So yeah, that's a pretty good point. I'm glad he
I
said
think
that.
that's what he was saying.
Okay.
That's what it sounded like.
That is good. That is good. Hello, Bree.
Hi, my name is Kim Miller. A plan was just adopted that doesn't even identify the Emily Kimbrough house correctly. I'm not arguing that sidewalks and trees aren't needed. I'm not arguing that work in our neighborhood is not needed. What I am asking is why weren't the stakeholders there to help identify these things? And I know we heard a lengthy argument as to why we were not. But if we were there and we were helping with this process or had a look at this, we could have at least helped identify problems in the plan as simple as not identifying a house correctly, because it really takes away from the entire plan.
Yeah.
Is a wrench really the best tool to start with if we use the analogy that we were going with fixing a car? This is why maybe talking to the mechanic first that has done this job for a long time might be important, because they can identify if that's the first tool you should buy or if you should start with a different tool. Talking to us as stakeholders that have lived in the neighborhood, who work in the neighborhood, who walk the neighborhood, who talk to the people that live in the neighborhood could help identify, is that area the area that is most needed right now?
Yeah.
It very well might be, but it may not be the correct starting point. There might be areas that need things more desperately, that don't fit with maybe the plan that you guys are hoping for. And I get this is just, in theory, a tool right now, but my worry is when we do have the ability to sit at that table as stakeholders and to talk to you guys or talk to Mr. Howe or whoever is doing this, it'll be too late to change if there's another area identified that is more important. As neighbors, as we have always asked, just to have transparency and to be talked to when the city is doing things. It seems like we always get the information too little too late. Even if it is something that's great to improve, we just want to know and be in the loop. It hurts to kind of hear that as stakeholders, it didn't matter right now to us because it was for something as simple as getting grants. But grants, as you guys were saying, are very specific. And if the specifics of our neighborhood aren't met, that seems like it was kind of a waste of time and effort.
Very good. Very, very good. True.
Shaw, got 2 minutes.
Hey there.
Go ahead.
All right, Brian Shaw, 600 East Washington Street within the East Central Neighborhood Association. So I don't think that's really a plan. I think it's an action items list, really. I mean, plans are step by step.
Correct.
So maybe name it appropriately. So plans, when you say plans, we kind of panic, like, wait, what plans? We haven't heard anything. So it's reaching out. I mean, this is the Redevelopment Commission. We have people in the neighborhood who have rehabbed old houses or built new structures in the neighborhood or whatnot. Maybe reach out to us, see if anyone wants to be involved with this in one way or another. Get some buy-in, because when you market these development projects to other entities that may or may not be here in Muncie, that's of concern to us. Like, who's going to maintain the properties, who's going to see that there aren't problems associated with properties, depending on, you know, if apartments are built somewhere or whatnot. So, you know, just reach out. MuncieECNA@gmail.com is the email address for our neighborhood association. Anyone on our board has access to that email address. So just email us if you have questions. You know, if you'd like to just, hey, have a few of us out, throw some ideas around. It's not that difficult.
Not that difficult.
Thank you.
Not that
Anyone
difficult.
else for public comments?
Kristopher Bilbrey. All my comments are kind of related, and it just goes back to basically the function of local government. And I would think this board, as an arm of the administration, I would think that meeting the public where they are would be important. I mean, it's really ridiculous that you guys would vote before these people would have a chance. I'm not saying that Jeff was wrong. I'm not saying that these people are right, but it would be good to have that discussion beforehand. I mean, it's really disappointing when you do have the option. I mean, look, this room's not full of people. You're going to be out of here really soon. It wouldn't have done any harm to allow these people to be heard before you guys vote. It's exactly pointless for you guys to listen to these people after you vote. It serves no purpose. The other issue and the reason that I came in late was I was listening online, and it's the minutes are always an issue. I know that you guys have probably seen the minutes of the city council before, and the city council uses very minimal software, and it takes hardly no time at all, and they capture every word that is spoke in a council meeting. And the fact that you guys don't do that, I think, is a disservice to yourselves. It's a disservice to the public. And again, it's that idea of trying to meet the public where they are. And it seems like more and more you guys are not doing that, or you attempt to not do that. And then lastly, I would think it's just the overall feeling that you guys portray. And I'll be done in just 1 second.
Go ahead.
I mean, honestly, the president hasn't looked up at me while I've been speaking, except to tell me my time is off. I think that's, I mean, I know you're shaking your head, but that's rather rude. So now why I'm saying this is because while I'm talking, he's like shaking his head and like scoffing. Okay. I know that you don't care. And the reason I said that is because after I called him out, he then shrugs his shoulders, which to me is the universal, in that moment, it was the universal sign language of saying, I don't give a shit about what you're saying. I'm just being me, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So that's why I said, I know you don't care.
Of your shoulders and look like an asshole, but that doesn't look good.
Time's up.
The attitude that you had at the end of the last meeting last month also looked ridiculous. And I think that as an arm of the administration, you would want to do better. I would hope that the mayor would remove you for that behavior. He hasn't. I knew he wouldn't, but just try to do better. Try to do better.
Anyone else?
So after this, I then made the Facebook post that said that, I was like on cloud 9. My life is now complete. I was able to call the MRC president, Isaac Miller, an asshole during the City of Muncie Redevelopment Commission meeting this morning. And I kind of thought that my life was complete. One of our major fans here on the program messaged me, commented in the post, and let me know that I was wrong, that I did not, in fact, call him an asshole. Instead, I erroneously said he looked like an asshole. So I am sorry to our biggest fans, to the people that I've let down. I did not, in fact, call him an asshole, and I will make it up to you all. I will have to go back next month and fix that and call him actually call him an asshole for it to count. So I am so sorry, and I was wrong, but I'm glad that you guys hold us accountable. When we screw up here, I want to be held accountable as much as we hold anybody else accountable. I did not call him an asshole. I said he looked like an asshole. That is my bad. We will fix that. All right, moving on.
It's for public comments.
I'm Rob Miller.
Go ahead.
I embarked.
I'm really happy with this gentleman's comments too. This is the end of it. After this, it'll be, oh God, what am I doing? What have we done?
That in the original.
Sorry, hold on. My bad, folks. I don't know what I just did there. Okay, this gentleman's comments are really good too.
It's for public comments.
I'm Rob Miller.
Go ahead.
I embarked last year on redoing a house that's been vacant in the East Central neighborhood for 31 years. No one's lived in it. It's been blighted. It's fallen down. We actually have a hearing this evening to get approval for our first COA. We're going to be doing major siding work. It's on Main Street. It's a big thing people see on that street coming into town every day. I am working on it. And when we hear these sorts of things come through about the central redevelopment plan, we're doing it. Some of the neighbors are actually doing it. And there's people in the neighborhood that have done it. We have experience. And to my wife's credit, like, they misidentified the Emily Kimbrough house, which is a historic house that the neighborhood, the local historic district, is named for. So that corner of East Central neighborhood that you are identifying in this document is a local historic district that features Emily Kimbrough's childhood home. And in the document, you identify her childhood home as a burned down house outside the neighborhood. That's not great. There are other problems that are less obvious in that document.
I love this guy.
I think it's a good plan. I agree with Jeff that you guys need a tool to get these grants. But like, they need, to Zane's point, like, we just need to go through and fix the problems with it. I mean, there's just glaring actual facts.
And and I love what he is saying. I love everything he's saying. There are glaring actual issues. I will take it a step further tying in his wife's comments, one of the biggest glaring actual problems is the fact that they didn't talk to the people that are the stakeholders on the ground in these areas. And listen, a lot of these areas aren't the best areas of town. They're not this is not Northwest Muncie, past Petty and Tillotson. These are places that used to be really beautiful areas of town, back in the 1900s, and so on. But these people have chose to live there, and they've chosen to do things in the neighborhood. And you normally have people who will buy a home and fix it up and live there, and then also buy a home elsewhere in their neighborhood and work to fix it up. There's a lot of people like this, and the fact that they're just simply saying we don't need to speak to any of you in these early stages is really a major issue.
Actual errors in it right now that you guys are going to be pitching to grantors. And if they do any research on the city, they're going to figure it out really quickly that the document doesn't line up with reality.
Why do you say that, Catherine?
You guys ask them to go back and not rewrite it or anything like that. Just go ask some people what's actually correct in there. Maybe fix some grammar, maybe fix some spelling mistakes. And, correctly identify some of these historic landmarks because they're incorrect right now. Thank you.
He looked like he was so disappointed. Like he looked at them. I love it. This is actually a different black shirt. Thank you, ma'am. That one, I don't think it actually had the pocket. This one actually has got a pocket. I normally don't like shirts with pockets. When I got this, I bought this. See, so every spring and winter I go and get new attire that look identical. And I'll, you know what? Sunday, I'm going to show you. I'm going to finally set the record straight. But I picked this one up by mistake, and it had a effing pocket. I don't like pockets.
Seeing none, we'll move on to commissioner comments.
Well, just to further that, this East Corridor plan is now approved. I guess my first issue was that, for us commissioners, it was sent over on 2 days ago. It was not listed as actionable. It mentions, neighborhood partners, but those neighborhood partners weren't consulted. That makes it very difficult to work on a plan or, vote on a plan. And I don't necessarily need to make comments during a large public meeting, but if we're not consulted beforehand, then that's where they're going to come out. I don't think we're overthinking some of the issues with the plan as proposed. It mentions planning as a tool, but one of the partners and one of the developments that's listed as an example in the plan as a good example is not following the existing zoning and development standards that are required for developments. And two of the houses that were listed as examples of blight in McKinley are also owned by a partner. So I think it contradicts itself, and I think it pushes the blame as off as we just need more money to do things, when I think there's a lot of tools that the city has that it's not using correctly. Thank you.
Now, I do want to say this. Jeff Howell needed to hear that comment, but Jeff Howell was not in the room at some point between when Jeff Howell sat down, but before I spoke, Shireen got up off the bench. She went and she whispered something into Jeff Howell's ear. Jeff Howell then stood up and ran out of the room, bolted out of the room, did something, came back in, got his things, and then again bolted out of the room. Very odd. I was sitting next to Amber, and I texted Amber, and I was like, what's that about? And she's like, I don't know. I heard, and they announced it. I don't think we listened to it. No, we definitely didn't. But they announced that there was some kind of an emergency event that occurred. And I don't know what that event is. I just want to say for the record, I am not a fan of Jeff Howell, but my thoughts and my prayers are going to Jeff. I don't know what was going on. I'm hoping and praying it was nothing that bad, but he boogied out of there. So I don't know what that was about, but I hope everything's okay. My thoughts and prayers for them, and hope that's taken care of, whatever. But he unfortunately didn't get to hear this, but he was taking care of something. So just, I wanted to put that out there.
I'd add just one thing. I want to add to that. Urge the urgency at the expense of just everything. An example, this was in January, I think as the meeting was on the 16th, there was a $1.4 million spending plan that we approved. I did not vote in favor of that. I don't believe that Mr. Bishop did either. We received that in less than 2 days before the meeting, just like we received this plan that we didn't vote for today, 2 days before the meeting, less than 2 days before. And that vote,
that's ridiculous.
January, it turned out that part of what we were asked to approve wasn't good. It wasn't right. It wasn't a part of the plan, actually. It would have informed the decision better. And at that meeting, I had asked for it. Can we just table this and in the future get things a little more advanced so we can ask questions and we can inquire and just make the best decisions we can on behalf of people who live.
Why is Pribella not shaking his head and agreeing? I take back everything I said about, he's not that bad. Yeah, he's just as bad. If he can sit here knowing that, well, we got this day and a half before we got here, and the other thing that Andrew Dale just got up, the $1.2 million thing, we got that 2 days before the meeting, and that seems okay to me. The fact that he's okay with that is a problem and makes him a bad guy too. So to hell with him as well. It's just they're ridiculous, and the fact that all four of them cannot agree with Andrew or Zane that they maybe should have things a little bit quicker than 2 days before a meeting. Like, why? That's not even something that we should have to talk about.
And I think we're shortchanging ourselves, and unfortunately, we're really shortchanging the whole citizenry.
The public,
When we work in a sense of urgency, that's not even necessary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, dude, I'm going to name my band that. That is a great band name. We work in a sense of urgency when it's not even necessary. Dude, that what an amazing thought. That's exactly right. That's the problem. Look. That's even one of those things that Ridenhour ran on. I can show you. Look. Right there. Point 4. Slow government down. Not under the Ridenhour administration.
Only thing I have left before we adjourn is our next meeting is scheduled for June 19th, which is a federal holiday. So maybe check your calendars. We may have to reschedule that depending. Other than that, there's no other business. We will stand adjourned until then. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So, assholes and all, man. That's what it is. And listen, we're not going to be here tomorrow night. We're off on Saturday, obviously. We'll be on live Sunday with Catherine. Back at episode 452 will be on Sunday evening, God willing, at 9 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. You know where to find us, right here on YouTube and Rumble and Facebook for a little bit longer, and X and everything else. So you know what to do there. But we're going to be talking about the Madison County Council meeting from last Tuesday. Been Tuesday, May 13th, and they dealt with the same things. In that meeting, you've got a council meeting, a council member talking about something, and another council member just jumps down her throat and tells her that she's being rude and how dare she, and just has total disdain for the citizenry as well. And man, Catherine got up And while she didn't call anybody assholes or tell them that they look like assholes, rather, she did stick it down their throats because she was right to the point. So I can't wait to have Catherine on and talk about that. That meeting was an absolute joke. And man, I'm just getting so sick of these people. They need to understand what is going on. And the bottom line is they are not doing the job that we request of them to do. And it's not a good thing. So yeah, the theme for the Madison County is have it their way. Their way. It's not our way, it's their way. So yeah, right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I appreciate you guys being here. Sorry for not being here last night. But we were I was looking through the lawsuit and took an evening off. We will be off tomorrow night. That is Saturday night. You all have a wonderful Saturday. Have a wonderful Saturday evening. It looks like we made it through the severe weather here. Nothing bad here happened. Hello, Brandon Rudd. Good night, Brandon Rudd. What have you been doing, dummy? You didn't just get here. Get out of here. All right, you guys take care. Have a great evening, and we'll see you back here Sunday with Catherine. Look at him. What? Are you got something to tell me? What are you saying? What you got, Brandon? Tell us. Quick, tell us. Hey, look, Brandon's got a wrench by his name. Maybe we ought to give that to Jeff Howell. Jeff Howell, he just wants a tool. He just wants a wrench. Brandon's got a wrench. I heard it's a tiny wrench, but he said he doesn't want to tell me something. He said, hey, because I called him dummy. It was just dummy because I was like, what have you been doing? What have you been doing, dummy? All right. Good night, people. You guys take care. God bless. Hey, 1 week from tomorrow, man, is the concert. I cannot freaking wait. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to get off here. And as I'm winding down, I'm going to listen to, I'm going to look up some concert footage from that concert. So, all right. Take care. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you back here Sunday. God bless each and every one of you. Take care. Good night.